You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show podcast on KPEL965.com.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pros studios. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Throwing her hat in the ring. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. President-elect Trump wants former pro wrestling executive Linda McMahon as education secretary. She's on his transition team and was in charge of the Small Business Administration for part of his first administration. Connecticut Senate Democrat Richard Blumenthal beat her for that seat in 2010.
I don't know why Trump didn't appoint her as Secretary of Commerce, which she would have been ideally suited to do.
A Trump statement says we will send education back to the states, and Linda will spearhead that effort. His pick to run the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services is former TV doctor and Senate candidate and surgeon Dr. Mehmet Oz. The U.S. Embassy in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, is closed.
They said the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv received specific information of a potential significant air attack on November 20th. The embassy will be closed and recommends U.S. citizens be prepared to immediately shelter in the event of an air alert if one is announced.
Fox's Trey Yingst in Kyiv. Closing arguments have started now at Jose Ibarra's trial for Laken Riley's murder in Georgia. Then we don't know how long it might take. The judge comes to a verdict.
After the prosecution rested their case yesterday, the defense called their first two witnesses. Now, throughout the trial, the defense has questioned the evidence and alluded that someone else may have killed Riley, even suggesting it may have been Ibarra's brother, Diego.
Fox's Madison Scarpino in Athens. Susan Smith is up for parole today in South Carolina.
In 1994, 23-year-old Susan Smith drowned her two toddler sons, 3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alexander, when she drove to a lake, got out, and pushed her car with her kids in it down a boat ramp. Smith lied about the circumstances surrounding what happened. She later confessed, was convicted, and sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 30 years.
It's Fox's Jeff Manasso. America's listening to Fox News.
Police officer and K-9 handler Jacob Russell Chaffins was fatally shot while attempting to serve warrants for domestic violence offenses. And thanks to friends like you and your generosity, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave the Chaffins family the gift of a mortgage-free home. There's so much more to do, and to say thank you to our nation's heroes and their families for their immense sacrifices, all for us. Donate $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you got to make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health.
Get ready for something fresh and exciting with the Josh Guillory Show. Josh Guillory brings a new perspective to the airwaves, analyzing news and issues coming out of Baton Rouge and Washington, D.C., and breaking down how they affect you. Engaging, raw, and informative, Guillory knows how to have fun while delivering the latest in politics and current events. With daily features that entertain and inform, you won't want to miss a single episode. The Josh Guillory Show, 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, only on News Talk 96.5, KPEL.
The Black and Gold are back, and we've got your free tickets for every New Orleans home game this fall. It's the ultimate Who Dat experience powered by Jamie Parker, your trusted personal injury attorney in Lafayette. To win, just open up our station app, put your finger on Who Dat, and sign in to win free tickets for home games. You'll also get an exclusive invitation to the special VIP tailgate party at Benson Tower that includes food and drinks before the game. When the Black and Gold are on the road, Legend steps up with 10 burgers, 10 wraps, chips, and drinks for you to enjoy. We'll announce our ticket winners during a live Bring in the Weekend party at a Legends location near you. So get signed in to win right now. Open up the app, put your finger on Who Dat, and good luck. And remember, if you have been injured in an accident, turn to Jamie Partner, your trusted personal injury attorney in Lafayette. Specializing in personal injury and wrongful death cases, visit JamieParkerLawLA.com, LA 2417591. We want you to be in that number every time the Black and Gold take on the field. It's the ultimate Who Dat experience. Enter to win right now, and good luck. Non-attorney paid announcer.
Why the words you say, This is Dave from the Dave Matthews Band for RAD. When you go out and party, get drunk, then drive, you're not only loaded, you're a loaded weapon. When you celebrate, designate. Choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Bikers Against Child Abuse empowers children to not feel afraid of the world in which they live. For more information, visit BACAworld.org. Our helpline is 866-885-9474. BACA, breaking the chains of abuse.
This hour of the Moon Griffon Show is brought to you by Champagnes, located in the Oil Center. Champagnes, going the extra mile.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
Hello, welcome Moon Griffon Show. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful hump day. Always a pleasure to be with you. 844-766-6607. Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. Or you can always be part of the program. You can always email me, moon@moongriffon.com. A lot of national stuff, a lot of state stuff. We'll delve in. Hopefully Scott McKay will join us about 10:32 dealing with the session. I think we're going to hear from Paul Hurt about 9:30. It hadn't been confirmed. Paul's all for the cutting the income tax and everything right away, which I am too. The session keeps plodding along. I know they want to get out of there before Monday with the Thanksgiving week. I'm sure some of these cats in the legislature got trips planned, hunting trips, trips to go see family. Because if you got to go see your family, you're probably not in the state. So I'm sure they'd like to get it over with. Will Senate be the problem? Will they make a deal? I tell you what I'm getting to feel. This is my feeling. It's my feeling. Now, remember, folks, I am talking to a lot of people in high places from behind the scenes. I'm not making that up. Got a lot of calls yesterday. And what I'm putting together by just reading everything I read, just like you, by talking to people in this session, I think when it all, because of what happened to this point, a lot of Republicans don't want to vote to increase taxes. I don't blame them. I just don't blame them. I thought the 0.45 should have never been put on the books. Once they put 0.45 on the books, you don't get them off. They took 1 cent to 0.45. You don't put the 0.45, you ain't been spending that $500 million every year ingrained in the government. Now they want it permanent like they do every other tax. But that may be the saving grace for them because I think when it's all said and done, what we're going to have is, God, I hate to say this. Man, should I say it? I'm going to say it. I think at the end of the day, when the session's dead and gone, we would have taken a step in the right in the right direction. Don't get mad at me. Maybe that's the best we got now. Maybe that's the best we got. It's just not a desire to do anything quick in Louisiana. I've had to come up with that in the last few days and really the last few years that nobody has a desire to change. Not enough people, let's put it that way, have a desire to change Louisiana. People are getting the hell out of here. The businesses are not here. Our car insurance is shot out the damn roof. We can't fix bridges and roads. I can go on and on. I'm not. And then the worst thing is to do, we don't even try to fix it. And by the way, before somebody says, man, that's kind of tough on land. No. Let me back up and tell you something. I'll get more to that later. I said this in the last few days, and I'll say it again. And I don't know where the devil's advocate in the media is at. We were told last year we'll have a $700 million deficit. Who left Jeff Landry with a $700 million deficit? Bill Edwards. Landry inherits a budget deficit. That's why they put that 0.45, that Paula Pelosi Davis, best Republican, proud of the 0.45, forcing Republicans to go vote for all these taxes. Jeff inherited Bill Edwards' 8 years of hell. But, I've never seen this in the paper, not one time in the devil's advocate, how Jeff inherited this bad budget deficit. And at least Landry didn't go back behind the scenes and call Jay Darden and say, hey, man, can we jump this up to $2 billion and tell people this big fat lie because we want to spend money? Landry didn't do that either. That was Bill and Jay Darden. That was a lie from hell. I'd welcome both of them to come on the program and talk about a $2 billion budget. I'll come to Baton Rouge. Can't go to the mansion now because he's not in the mansion. They're not going to want to take the offer because they'd have to lie to you. They're not going to come lie on this program. Landry inherited the crap and the hell from Bill and the economy and money and tax. I mean, all this stuff. It was inherited. Not one time. And since Bill Edwards came on scene, and the first time he talked about the budget, $2 billion budget deficit, and I inherited from Bobby Jindal, he actually voted for the budget deficit. It was never $2 billion, but the budget deficit. He was in the legislature. Landry hadn't been in the legislature. Landry didn't vote for this crap. Bill Edwards did. Bill Edwards set the tone of the $1.1 billion budget deficit. It wasn't $2 billion. It was made up a lie from hell. That's what they wanted. That was the budget deficit plus what they wanted to spend. Now, Jeff didn't inherit it, but it's his problem now. Not one article, not one person did the Twitter, anybody else in the advocate say, hey, man, Landry inherited. Because all they want him to do is pass the sales tax that Bill Edwards passed through Paula Pelosi Davis and ignorant Republicans. A lot of ignorance out there. Should have never voted for the 0.45. I begged him, had all kind of money coming into the coffers. And Republicans that voted with the Democrats and Bill Edwards, this is what they set up. This is what they set up, folks. I know what I'm talking about. It was set up by Edwin Edwards back in the 70s. It's been set up, Bill Edwards. I told you, on steroids, put this state really worse off in the wrong direction. Bill hurt us. Bobby Jindal looks like a great governor compared to Bill Edwards. He hurt us in schools. He hurt us at universities with his woke. He hurt us in not fixing road and bridges. He hurt us with economy. He hurt us in out-migration. I go on and on about this. Landry inherited a Bill from hell budget. You got a lot of Republicans don't want to vote for the sales tax to 0.45 because they promised people back home they're going to have to live with that vote. I've been told we can't cut can't touch the budget. In August, when Landry wanted to go and put all this dedicated money back into statues, then the government people freak out. All these agencies and stuff freak out that they got money coming to. Everybody freaks out. So we're going to sit here and just keep doing what we've been doing and expecting different results. I think that's called insanity, and we've been insane for a while. When we elected Bill Edwards, we were insane. Well, I wouldn't vote for Bitter. He was character flaw. Yeah, Edwards doesn't have any character flaws. As we busted him down on the overcount of COVID, we busted him down at the country club while he was telling us to wear a mask. He didn't wear a mask. Ronald Green got killed. He didn't let people know till late. The Anderson guy that worked for him, that blank on him, fired for sexual harassment. He hired him until he got fired again for sexual harassment. They fired the woman he sexually harassed. And now Bill Edwards told us about the Green New Deal, and Bill Edwards is making money off the Green New Deal, off the federal government. Oh, but he's an honor code guy, Moon. Oh, of course. He's an honor code guy. He's an honor code guy. In politics, they ain't an honor code guy. I wish there was, and there might be a few people, you can't say all, but there's not much honor code in politics, and Bill knew that. Cause our economy to go to hell in a handbasket. Out migration, 2016 been flowing out of here left and right. Bill Edwards, Jeff inherited this. It's his problem now. But if you want to do tax reform, let me say it again because ain't nobody listening to me, and that's fine. Tax reform has to have spending cuts in the state side of the budget. Have to. If you don't, it won't be the reforms you need. If you don't change the way you're spending money, guess what? Deficits forever. That's how Bill Edwards and them set it up. See, they set it up where and Edwin Edwards set it up where all we can ever do is raise taxes. That's it. That's why we're having problems. Now, in Landry's credit, he has nothing to do with that. Zero to do with all the crap that happened under Bill Edwards and Edwin Edwards and all other governors for that matter. System, for lack of a better word, folks, and it's not professional, our system sucks. And nobody wants to change it. That's what's so sad. Not enough people want to change it. You know, they got a constitutional amendment. We're going to take this money out of dedicated in the Constitution, put it back in the statute where it belongs, where we can cut and do the things we need to do. If we're not going to do that, then, I'm going to just say it again. Here comes the old step in the right direction. And here's the problem. Okay, let's say I'm right, and I will be. We do a step in the right direction. Everybody pats himself on the back. That's great. Okay. Let me say that's great. What's the next step? When are we taking the next one? And the next one? And the next one? Let's say the best we got now is step in the right direction. I'll accept it. That's fine. Whatever Jeff and them come up to do, that's fine. I go with it. What's the next step? When's the next step? Because a step in the right direction, when everybody's in vehicles going 90 miles an hour way ahead of us, you don't catch up. So if we get step in the right direction at this point, I might have to accept that. But is there a step two? And when does step two start? Does it start right after the first of the year when we get to another special session and a regular session, which is the fiscal session? What's the next step? And is everything going to be about how we can protect government spending and make sure we have a lot of money for government? Because if that's the answer, then nothing would ever change. Bye-bye kids will become a poor, pathetic state. And some of these good old boy network people, listen to me. Elon Musk and Ramaswamy, if they get a chance to come in and cut government and really cut it, there ain't but a few places you can cut. You know what's one of the biggest and easiest cuts for the federal government to make? You ready? Money to state and local government. And I'm going to see weeping and gnashing of teeth when the federal government says we're cutting state and federal funds. What are y'all going to do? What are we going to do? I mean, I'm going to have to go to New Iberia to see Moneybags Romero and bring a lot of Kleenex. He'd be crying like a baby. Everybody going to be crying like, well, that ain't fair. That ain't what I wanted Trump to win. We're broke. We're broke. We got inflation out the wazoo. Something's got to give here. That's what's going to give. And then what is the state's going to do? The ones that depend on themselves will be the ones that will be okay. Let me take a break. 844. They got a new thing that Jeff and them came up with. I want to talk about it briefly when we come back. It could be something really, really good, but I want to bring that up as well. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show, and yes, I'm giving away Cane River pecans. Email me, moon@moongriffon.com. Say you want to win. Make sure you leave an address, and we're going to give away another one at the end of the program. When you think about how you'll spend your money in retirement, what comes to mind? Probably travel, sunny beaches, and spoiling your grandchildren. But a recent survey found that over 30% of every dollar a retiree spends goes to taxes. Baby boomers were told for years to save money in their IRAs and 401ks and pay taxes later. Well, now that day has arrived, and boomers are shocked to see a third of their money going back to Uncle Sam. John Blanchard and the Matthew James Financial Group can help. What if you could protect all or most of your retirement wealth from future tax rate increases? Achieve a zero or near zero effective tax rate for most of your retirement years. Find out more. 337-366-8366. Isn't it time you got a second opinion on your wealth and retirement outlook? Learn how you could potentially kick the IRS out of your IRA. 337-366-8366 and online at MatthewJames.com.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. It's termite season. Did you know termites are responsible for over $1 billion worth of damage in Louisiana alone? For over 60 years, J&J Exterminating has been shielding homes and businesses. 100% guaranteed against termites, pests, and mosquitoes. Louisiana-owned, customer-focused. J&J Exterminating.
Call him today, make the pests go away. J&J Exterminating.
Get the shield.
Yeah. It's gumbo season. This year, I want you to try some Ragin' Cajun Authentic Roux and let Ragin' Cajun Roux do the hard work for you. Using just 2 simple ingredients. Ragin' Cajun Roux, a slow cook for 6 hours for the perfect dark and rich tasting gumbo. You can find Ragin' Cajun Roux and Ragin' Cajun Original Cajun Seasoning in all your favorite grocery stores today. Folks, ask them for that Ragin' Cajun. Try all your great Ragin' Cajun products. Ask for them by name in the grocery store. Ragin' Cajuns, folks. This food is great.
Do you crave?
Hi, hello. Welcome back. It's always great to be with you. 844-766-6607. Don't forget Cane River Pecan giveaway. And by the way, you folks that want to, and I've done it for many, many years, 13 years now, the gifts I like to send to my customers is the Cane River Pecans. Oh, man. I'm going to tell you what, if you're into gifting and they take a 10 and they put my my deal on that, my logo and all that stuff, and people love them, and they love the pecans. Cane River Pecan Gifting. I'm telling you, if you're a business out there and you want to gift, just go to CaneRiverPecan.com, CaneRiverPecan.com. You can do it right there. On the internet, you can call them and all that stuff, but I'm telling you, it's the greatest gift you can give to your companies. I'm just letting you know. So what Jeff and them have done with now, they've come out with something, it's called the Fiscal Responsibility Group that he's going to put together. Okay. And what this will do is to go into every department and see where every penny is spent. Okay? Fiscal Responsibility Program. There's going to be 4 from the House, 4 from the Senate, and then they're going to put together somebody that's not in government. Would be a fiscal responsibility czar. And they're supposed to go look at the finances and where we spend every penny. Now, by the way, great idea. We're watching Donald Trump do it. But the difference is Trump is getting people outside government. Trump's getting people, Musk and Ramaswamy, outside of the federal government. People that know finances and business type people. And my suggestion, if I could critique it before they start, that's fine. I have no problem. Great idea. Great idea. Okay? Great idea. Giving Landry credit, great idea. I would get all the people outside of government to do it. I would not. I mean, the House members and Senate members, they have a play in this. I'll be honest with you. If I had a czar, I was going to put in that, put Daniel Earthpalm in front of the Pelican Institute. That's who I'd put. Somebody that's outside of government, that works with the government, is outside the government. I'd get a group of business people. And I tell you what, I don't know if I'd get a group of business people, maybe some from Louisiana, some from Florida, and some from Tennessee. I would find some people that would do this. And by the way, I'm not critiquing it. I'm telling you what I would do. Everybody does it different. I'd let people come in when they look at the budget, they can find out where every penny goes. The idea is great. Trump's going to do it at the federal government. If Trump's people would do it and he'll bring it up and do that, that would be so good. But there's people in the state of Louisiana that you could put on this thing that really care about state government. There's entities out there, Citizen for a New Louisiana, the Pelican Institute, Paul Hurd, people that give a big-time interest in seeing what our state could do and what they could cut. Now, the House and Senate members may be perfect, but I would go a little farther. That's just me. The idea Landry's doing is a good idea. What have I been telling y'all about DOTD? Before I give them 1 penny, what would I do? I'd find out where every penny went for 40 years. Every penny. And then, because you don't want to just give DOTD more tax money to fix our road and bridges without knowing where the money's going to go. I mean, if I was running your company, I bankrupt your company. You're going to say, okay, well, you bankrupt the company. How much more money you need? Oh, give me another $2 million. Sure, Moon. Hand you how about cash? You're not even going to say, Moon, where did the money go? Can we sit down and look at the books? No, you're going to say, hold up just a second, dude. I want to see what you did. And that's what listen, we've been doing this crap for 50 to 100 years now. It's time. It's time to do it. I would have a different approach. I think the idea is absolutely right on the money. I think somebody from the outside looking in would be, and just in my opinion, not politicians. I think they would be more, get mad at me. I think they'd be a hell of a lot more honest. I do. But the idea is great. Landry's idea is great on this. His instinct on this is perfect because this is what Trump and the federal government's doing. His instinct's right on the money. I just wouldn't let. I mean, I would maybe call Ron DeSantis, a governor in another state, a red state that's doing good, and ask him, hey, who you got that can come here and look at our books? I mean, Jeff has nothing to be ashamed of the books. He ain't been that long enough. Walker, we need to take a break. 844-766-6607. Be right back. 5 Louisiana locations. I always make it a point to visit Superior Grill when I'm traveling the great state of Louisiana. I love the food there. It's authentic Mexican food with a Louisiana twist. Their menu has all your favorites: nachos, quesadillas, enchiladas, tacos, fajitas, hand-cut steaks, and the best margaritas in the state. You can go to Superior for lunch or dinner, and folks, you're going to thank me for it. My lovely bride and I eat at Superior Grill every chance we get. They're on Line Avenue in Shreveport, Government Street and Highland Road in Baton Rouge, St. Charles Avenue in New Orleans, and on College Saloon in Lafayette. I'm talking great food, great service, and great margaritas. The best Mexican food with the Louisiana twist is found at Superior Grill, Shreveport on Line Avenue, Baton Rouge on Government Street and Highland Road, New Orleans on St. Charles Avenue, and College Saloon in Lafayette. This is Moon Griffon. I'll see you at Superior Grill. This is Moon Griffon. My good buddy Jeff and the folks at Hudco Roofing and Exteriors is Louisiana's premier professional roofing contractor, specializing in residential roofing services. Remember, your roof protects everything, you and your family, and most of your possessions. And that's where Hudco Roofing comes in. These folks aren't just your average roofers. They're the #1 roofing company in the state. Whether you need a repair or brand new roof, Hudco Roofing has you covered. Hudco is a CertainTeed Select Shingle Master and takes every roof all the way down to the decking to make sure there are no hidden damages. Hudco Roofing is also a state-certified installer of the Fortified Roofing System, and that's a big deal. Anywhere in Louisiana, you can get a free roof inspection and quote from Hudco Roofing. Go to HudcoRoofing.com for quality workmanship, premium products, and unparalleled customer service. This is Moon Griffon. I trust Hudco Roofing of Louisiana, and so should you. HudcoRoofing.com. That's HudcoRoofing.com.
Why is Sugar
Seal?
This hour of the Moon Griffon Show is brought to you by Champines, located in the Oil Center. Champines, going the extra mile.
Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Always great to be with you as a Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. You want to win some Cane River pecans, all you got to do is email me, moon@moongriffon.com. Say you want to win, leave an address, A lot of people were trying to play, and somebody will win again today. How about that? All righty. Paul Hurd joins us. Paul, what's going on? Paul.
Man, good morning. It looks like we're not making sausage. We're discovering the dead-end canyon that we're in, and what we first have to do in Louisiana is take our horses and turn them around and ride back out of this government spending that is what's killing us. And
well, you know what, Paul?
And I commend Jeff on doing this special session because it makes us focus on the money when most of the other issues out of the left for another day.
Yeah, no, it's no doubt the focus. You know, I had somebody tell me the other day that go ahead and pass what you're gonna pass, get it out, and let it show a $500,000 deficit going into next year's budget. Don't raise taxes, and it forces you to cut. And I think that's where we almost have to go to. You got to find a way to force the cuts, and maybe the strategy up the road when we get to next year will be, look, hey, we got a $500,000 budget deficit. We ain't gonna raise taxes. Let's cut.
Well, let's cut. And here's the point. We all admit that we need to get our tax burden on our businesses and our families. We need to right-size it, and that means reduce it. How much do we need to reduce? And let me show you something. We issued at the Louisiana Excellence, we issued what's called the gold standard on what do we need to do to turn out-migration around, have a viable government, but a little leaner, a little more right-sized. What you do is you phase out income taxes over a 3-year period, but you do it today. You pass the law that says we're going to stair-step out of personal income tax. You repeal the and I'm going to get to the numbers of what it costs. What can you get in your grocery basket of tax reform? Phase out income taxes over 3 years. Repeal franchise tax now totally. Reduce corporate income tax by 1/3. And when you do a third down, it becomes more than competitive right now with the other states. You do those steps, and then you reduce the severance tax. That's to help the oil and gas. You reduce it by 50%. This is the gold standard. This is easy. That's only 4 steps. You reduce severance by half. Now, how do you pay for it? If and I hate this, we keep the 0.45 for the same period that we're phasing out the income tax. You keep it for 3 or 4 years. And we're in the middle of a year, so it's really 3.5, not 4. You keep what we've got on that. You keep what you've got on utilities. Now, this is how close we are to being tax reformed. You reduce state revenues by 5%. That's what this will do. And what 5%. And that will give us a modern tax code, and all the rest of it is just fluff and shuffling paper. We can do that with a 4%, and I'm using the state's numbers on what these cuts would cost. 5 steps and you're there. So the good news is Landry has helped them get to the point where they realize the only way to get out of this box canyon is to cut spending. You can't go forward anymore and not just drive out migration up and up. Look, he's got us there. Guys, do just what you said. Enact these things. The critical number that gets left out is, let's remember why we do tax reform. We do it because ultimately you will grow our economy and bring our people back, and revenues will go back up. It's just simply the cost of escaping a bad deal, and it's not that hard. We're there, guys. You can enact this, and all we have to do is everyone look up and say, is there not 5% that I can do without in exchange for revolutionizing Louisiana?
Yeah, let me ask you a question, Paul, something that Paul Hurd, Of course, Paul's an attorney, been living there all his life. His 3 kids, none of them live in the state. No grandbabies.
None of them are in the state.
No grandbabies either. One of the things you focused on years ago, and you have for years, is total state expenditures per capita.
Right.
And talk a little bit about that, because I got some new numbers in there, and Louisiana spends a lot of money if you compare us in the South to everybody else.
Well, we've always been.
By the way, we spend over the national average. Per state expenditures per capita, we spend over the United States average.
Well, we've always, and that's one of the measures. Another more academically accepted measure of how overtaxed are we is what percent of revenue generated by taxpayers in the state, what percentage of their total revenue is extracted to pay for state and local government. We're the highest in the South because of 2 reasons. Our taxes are too high, and we've run business out of the state. We bring it back in, and we don't need to broaden the base by taxing us more. We need to broaden the base of taxpayers. And let me suggest one thing. The problem, the academic problem that we're having is we have a state spending limit, and it was put in place, and it can be overridden by a 2/3 vote of both houses of the legislature. And what we have found is it is no barrier at all. We can always find 2/3 of the legislature willing to spend money. I got a different solution. And we can enact, we can set the spending limit, and we can say our spending limit is based on this much revenue. And if we collect any revenue state, total revenue state, if we collect more than we budgeted that we needed, remember, when you pay income taxes, the state's already got your address, they've already got your name, and they know how much you've already paid. And now we find out the state got too much money. You make the excess collection, because income tax is the tax we're trying to get rid of, you make it a automatic legal refund to the taxpayer who paid it back to him the next year. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is we don't if we leave it in the state and anyone has the discretion to keep it, we never get it back. All you've got to do is say it's a tax refund if we determine at the end of the year, let's say growth occurred and we really collected more than we budgeted and we needed. What do we do now? We spend it. The revenue people declare it, and we spend it. What you do is you say, no, we're going to live within our means, and we're going to rebate that money back to the taxpayers who we most want to have the release. It's easy to do. It's automatic. It's non-bureaucratic because administratively, because we've got the data. We can 5%. Can we cut 5% and save Louisiana? And we're that close. Governor Landry has actually gotten us close enough that we all can see the problem. 5%. Haircut 5%, and we're on to a new golden age, just like somebody else I know in this country.
Yeah. All right, hold your thought. Let me take a break because I got a couple more questions for you. 844-766-6607, Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. The Moon Griffon Show, covering everything we can cover, giving you information. Third of the information you can't get anywhere else. Most nonpartisan, non-political show on the air today. The Moon Griffon Show. We'll be right back. I've been telling you about Schumacher Homes for a long time. Now, for a limited time, you can choose from 5 different financing offers and pick one that works best for you. Whether you're an active duty, military, or veteran, you can take advantage of the exclusive VA construction loan offer. You can lock in 30-year fixed financing for as low as 3.875. How about that? Looking to stay in your home and start construction right away? A stay-in-your-home loan might be right for you. With this option, you can stay in your home during construction and not worry about moving twice. And for you first-time home buyers, we're not going to forget you. For a limited time, they're offering 30-year fixed financing as low as 3.875. Other financing offers include no-cost refinancing, conventional loans, and FHA construction loans. If you're thinking of building your dream custom home, there's no time like the present to start building. SchumacherHomes.com. SchumacherHomes.com. Let them build your dream home. They're building dream homes one at a time.
Our state is facing a budget shortfall, left over by the last governor. Jeff Landry in the legislature already cut $2 billion for spending we don't need. Now they have to deal with this shortfall, but they've got a plan to deal with that and move Louisiana forward. This is what Governor Landry said.
This Louisiana Forward Plan, when fully implemented by the legislature and ratified by the people of this state, will produce more jobs, a greater prosperity, lower our taxes, and bring us a sustainable budget.
This plan cuts taxes for the middle class and all taxpayers, with the income tax rate dropped to just 3%. Job creators can grow the economy with lower taxes. Families and senior citizens, no more prescription drug sales tax. A different tax system which focuses on choices, not labor. And the Louisiana voters, we get the final say. Fixing the shortfall, cutting taxes, growing our economy, now that's moving Louisiana forward. Paid for by Protect Louisiana Values.
Hey, folks, it's Moon Griffon. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. It is a pleasure to be with you. You're listening to the most nonpartisan, non-political show on air today. Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline, 844-766-6607. Paul Hurd, who's joined us. Hey, Paul, so the governor, and I like the idea, he came out with a fiscal responsibility team. He's going to get 4 from the House, 4 from the Senate, then he's going to pick, quote, a fiscal czar to look at every penny in the state government. I think we see what Trump's doing. And I'm not saying he's doing what Trump's doing, but I've been saying we needed to do this. But I like the idea if it was business people that understood money and things of that nature, than the legislators. That's me. I think if he's going to do it like that, that's fine. No problem. I ain't going to say a word. But I thought, man, you could get a Daniel Ernst Palmer and a Paul Hurd, and y'all could go in there, y'all not in government, and look at where every penny's going. Man, what a report that would be. Because I think you're going to see that with Musk and Ramaswamy.
Oh, I think you're right in the sense that the concept is great. I think the problem is it's overloaded with that makeup with 4 and 4 and 1 from the outside. It reminds me of a student representative on the higher education board. That student's just a placeholder. They aren't going to be able to contribute. And the real problem is when you overload with the legislators, it's like when you're in business. You don't overload your audit committee with people that manage the business. Mm-hmm. This program, this group, should be independent of the administration and the legislators, because it's going to make recommendations. It can't enact law. It's going to make recommendations of, in my example, with the gold standard. How do we get to a net 5% cut and set this state on fire economically? I agree with you. I think if it needs staff also. What it needs is staff maybe out of the fiscal areas of the legislature. That staff, because they have the software, they have the equipment, and they have the background knowledge on the budget and the numbers and revenue, and whether it's there or the Department of Administration. We need the technological manpower. We need the technicians, the capable people for making analysis, but you need to overload it with someone from oil and gas. You need to overload it with somebody from retail, and you need...
Yeah, but you got to have people that understand numbers and books and money. You see what I'm
I'm
saying?
talking,
I mean,
about people that I agree with you. I'm not arguing with you. You and I are saying, but I'm saying their background. If you're a big business, or a big small business in this state, you know way too much about taxation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think the idea is great, and this is what they're going to do. That's fine. We'll see what they come back
and
with.
You don't need to make it 20 people with 8 legislators, even if they're not a majority. They're the seniority. You really need it to be an open discussion. And I think you need legislative representation for the reality of it, so that, look, if there's a barrier in front of you, if there's something we're going to have to jump over, we need to know it's coming, but it doesn't mean we're not going to jump over it.
Yeah, by the way, if you do allow this to happen, rather it be the group the governor's picking, I say the governor, he says the House and Senate will pick 4, and then he'll pick the czar, the guy that'll run the show. That's fine. But here's the problem with any of this. I've seen other entities from PAR, Cable, all these groups come up with these ideas. And all these studies that we've done in the House and Senate and the legislature, and the whole time I've been doing this program, none of that ever hardly gets enacted into policy in what we're going to do. None of it. So whatever you put together, you got to make sure you can enact some of the stuff that's going to come back, because a lot of times with government and state government, it just never gets enacted. We might have a good idea, but it doesn't get enacted, and that's why I was wondering if I think, by the way, and Jeff and them announced this, and I think it's a good thing. I think it's a great move. I like the idea of bringing some people from outside and then getting out the way and let them go do whatever, and giving them access. They got to be able to have access. You realize when a governor appoints a budget, he knows where every penny goes, or she. And yet the legislature has to approve a budget. They don't know where every penny goes. They only know it goes to certain departments. They don't get the inside scoop. Like Bill Edwards coming back, him and Jay Darden lied and made up that lie about the $2 billion budget deficit. And by the way, Paul, it's a lie from hell. But Bill gave us hell. But nobody ever came and said, "Moon, you're wrong. I'm going to make a fool out of you." I want them to make a fool out of me. They can't. Bill Edwards and Jay Darden made that up. That was a lie. That's been a lie. And everybody in the media I've talked to about it, the latest one was Tyler Bridges when he came here, I forgot, maybe in the summer. And he said, "Yeah, I need to look into that." And I've never seen him touch anything on it because it never happened. And they can't prove me wrong.
Well, and that's why I said you do need some technological resources out of the Department of Administration and out of the legislators' fiscal area, because they know where the dollars are buried. The other thing, you made a great point, and that is, if we will enact the gold standard, and not just mine, a renovation, a renaissance of Louisiana's tax code, and if it comes up $500 million short, then we have this group say, where can we do without this money? Where do we take our 5% cut and save Louisiana? It gives us a target. Instead of it being, well, we don't know how much we might cut. No, we need to know. We need, out of this budget, $1.5 billion reduced revenue, and we need to figure out how we're going to cut back on spending at the state level so that we can afford to be prosperous 3 years from now. That's the answer. This stuff doesn't stay forever. The sun comes up tomorrow. You make a good plan today. It's like getting in shape for a football game. You get in shape all summer. You're sweating. It's hot. It ain't no fun. But you know what happens? You win championships at the end of the year. But you got to put in the hard work early. Yeah. Let's get it done. Jeff may very well have us there enact a plan that Bloomberg, that CNBC would put as a headline: Louisiana is economically different under Governor Landry. We need that renaissance, and then we're going to manage to it. That's what business does.
Yeah. Well, I look. I still hope it goes. At this point, I think it's going to come out a step in the right direction. And I'm going to take that and be happy with it because if that's the case, my question is only going to be, what's the second step? When's the second step start? When's the third step? Because I'm going to tell you, steps in the right direction never get us where we need to be. But it's a good start.
We lose 30,000 more people. We look back up. Yes, we need to quit digging the hole, but we got to start climbing out of the hole, and that means catching up, being better than our competitors.
Oh, no doubt about it. It's I'm curious to see what happens. I think they're going to wrap up before Monday. I think there's Thanksgiving week. I think there's a big push to try to finish it on Friday. The Senate's taking their part now, and that's never good. We'll see what the Senate does when it's said and done.
And the idea of keeping the sunsetted sales taxes and adding to it a half a penny so that we raise sales taxes by a penny is a John Bell Edwards Jindal death sentence. Yeah. And there is no way that these legislators were elected to reform Louisiana by raising our taxes.
Yeah, we got to we'll see how it breaks down.
I'm more optimistic than you are. All we got to do is do what reform we need and let the regular session manage the expenditure side. Yeah. Once you get the target with the cut revenue, you can go manage it on the other side. And what it'll do.
Paul, I got to go. I got to go just because of time. Thank you. We'll do it again. All right, I'll take a break. Be right back.
William is one of millions.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Breaux Bridge, Lafayette, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pro Studio.
It's almost up to the judge. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. The judge in the Laken Riley murder case in Athens, Georgia, will come to a verdict at some point after this morning's closing arguments. Happening now, Jose Ibarra waived his right to a jury trial and did not testify in his own defense. Prosecutors say the evidence he killed Laken Riley while she was out jogging in February is overwhelming. His attorneys call it circumstantial.
Before this, the defense was supposed to call more witnesses today, but instead they moved into the rebuttal stage, and the state called a GBI agent to the stand who interviewed Jose Ibarra's brother, Diego. And in that interview, Diego identifies his brother to law enforcement in a video of a man throwing away a jacket into a dumpster outside of their apartment.
Fox's Madison Scarpino. President-elect Trump says he'll nominate Linda McMahon as Education Secretary. She served as Small Business Administration Chief for him before.
The former WWE executive is one of the picks senators are wrestling with when deciding if they'll vote to confirm them. Dr. Mehmet Oz is President-elect Trump's nominee to head the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. His former Pennsylvania Senate opponent, Democrat John Fetterman, says he's open to confirming Oz if he's committing to protect Medicare and Medicaid. Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Meantime, the vice president-elect is with some other nominees at the Capitol.
J.D. Vance arrived today with Secretary of State nominee Marco Rubio and Attorney General nominee Matt Gaetz. Vance will shepherd the nominees to meetings with GOP senators. This comes as the House Ethics Committee meets about its probe of Gaetz.
Fox's Chad Pergan. We've just learned about another pick, President-elect Trump choosing former acting Attorney General Matt Whitaker as ambassador to NATO. More flooding rains in the forecast for the Pacific Northwest as what's called a bomb cyclone hits Washington state with near hurricane-force wind taking down trees and power lines. More than 500,000 outages are reported, so is at least one death. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here with urgent news. The world's central banks are making unprecedented moves, and it's time to pay attention. In 2022 and 2023, they bought more gold than ever before. And now in 2024, the trend is accelerating. Why? Because central banks have lost faith in the dollar. And in these uncertain times, gold is the ultimate safe haven. If you too are worried about the dollar, I urge you to take similar action by diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold with my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Court-appointed special advocates, or CASA, are specially trained volunteers that help secure safe homes for abused and neglected children. Don't let these innocent victims slip through the cracks of our complicated legal system. Get involved today. Call CASA at 268-5111. This nonprofit organization moment brought to you by News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Hi, I'm Dale Brown, best-selling techno-thriller author. I'm also a mission pilot and squadron commander in the Civil Air Patrol. The members of the Civil Air Patrol are volunteer professionals who serve their communities and their nation every day with emergency services, aerospace education, and cadet programs. We train hard, we fly hard, and we get the job done for America. Join the Civil Air Patrol. Visit www.gocivilairpatrol.com and let's go flying.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Every day at 5 p.m. right here on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. It's me, Joe Cunningham, with The Joe Cunningham Show, offering you news, analysis, and commentary you're not going to get anywhere else. The big news stories of the day, and even some of the headlines you may not be aware of. It's your local, state, and national news coverage from a local perspective right here. Every day, News Talk 96.5 KPEL. Check us out, The Joe Cunningham Show, every day at 5 p.m.
The views expressed in the following show are those of the hosts or hosts only. They do not represent News Talk 96.5 KPEL or Town Square Media.
Hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. It's always a pleasure to be with you. 844-766-6607. Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. You can always be a part of the program either way, or you can email me, moon@moongriffon.com. Don't forget, Cane River Pecan Giveaway. Cane River Pecan Giveaway is rolling now. And all you got to do is email me, say you want to win Cane River Pecan, but leave an address. So if you win it, I'll pick a winner toward the end of the second hour of the 3-hour program. By the way, I'm getting a kick out of that. So Jeremy Alford put out today, and I just want y'all to know this. Cassidy Psychobill names financial team. The committee includes, and I'm glad to hear this, and spell it one name, includes many of Cassidy's top donors from the past year, Boise Bollinger, and former gubernatorial candidate Eddie Rispone. Y'all remember, everybody out there, Eddie Rispone's on that team. Just let me tell y'all, folks, they can put all the money they want up. They can get the biggest names in the state of Louisiana. Understand, they got to run in a closed primary. If the Republican Party and their voters are stupid enough to elect Bill Cassidy, but I know the Republican parties, they're not that stupid. They're not. They cannot wait. Republicans I talk to, and I talk to grassroots, and the conservatives will vote in the Republican deal. I don't care who supports him. I don't care who gives him money. When he has to run in 2026, he's got to run in a closed primary. And I looked at the names of all the people on his finance committee. Okay? I don't recognize 3 names on the Finance Committee. Not even 3 names. I don't know, probably got many people. You know. The Honorable David Vitter is supporting Psycho Bill. I'm seeing a few names on here. I know not many, but I think it's great because they can all go down together. There was, in a closed Republican Party, Cassidy can have 20 million. It's not going to matter. If Bill Cassidy is reelected in the state of Louisiana for the United States Senate, all I can ask is, how stupid can we get? But what this guy did to us and knifed us in the back when we told him not to vote that way. We begged him not to vote against Trump. And then the dumb things he said on air since. Okay, and he plays on the MSNBC and the CNN to run Trump into the ground. Then he lied to us and said, you wait till the J6 hearings come out. You wait, I know more than y'all. Oh, really? When was he going to expose that? Did he endorse Donald Trump for president? Nope. I'm telling y'all, he's being protected by his money now, but the vote is in 2026. Cassidy also projected a vote against Gates and Hegseth. I do. I hope he makes all these votes. You know? So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. They're out there putting that out there. Cassidy's raised $5.8 good. They raised $20 million. Ever heard of Liz Cheney? There's a lot of Liz Cheneys out there. And I'm telling you, man, I speak to Republican women. I speak to people. Man, they can't wait to vote against Cassidy. All you got to do is tell us who's running. If Bill Cassidy comes out with the Republican-endorsed candidacy and wins the Republican nomination, folks, his numbers are in the low teens. I'm telling you, with Republicans. His money can't buy him favor. When people see him and they see him on TV or whatever, they just roll their eyes at him. They can't wait to vote against him. I've never seen a Republican candidate, people couldn't wait to go to vote against. Now, look, they had people hate Vitter. Okay? But man, I'm telling you that they were mad at Vitter. I get it, but not like they are with Cassidy. Trump's the president. Trump can come in here and endorse somebody else. Think about it. I just want you to think about it. So when you see this stuff, I kind of laugh at it. I thought, well, that's great, man. I can't wait for him to run. I mean, I'm a no-party person. I'm going to vote in a Republican primary that year. And try to get, now don't be an independent party. Remember, don't join that, but that's a party now. That's a nothing burger. You say, well, I'm independent now. You independent party or you? No. Well, yeah, you did. If you registered independent in our state as a party, independent party now. You got to be a no party. And if I got to go back to being a Republican to vote against Psycho Bill, I'm going to do it. I have no problem about that. So I just see that people read it. Oh, Cassidy got Boise Bollinger. Well, Mr. Bollinger is a respected guy, business guy, makes a lot of money. Eddie Respondi's made a lot of money. Eddie Respondi's the one buried Ralph Abraham. Just something to remember. Buried him for no reason. And I like Eddie. I know Eddie personally. Let them guys come tell us why they supported Cassidy. How many of them are tied to government? Cassidy is the Green New Deal Bill Cassidy, the guy that voted for all this inflation we got. That was Psycho Bill. Still believes in that crazy crap. Bad votes pushing us down in the ground. So we'll see. Let them put all the money. There's going to be some good candidates. I've already heard of 3 pretty good names out there. I'll tell you, Scametta was on yesterday. John Fleming's looking at it, and they say so was the congressman from here, Clay Higgins. That's 3 names right there. All of them are conservative. All of them are better than Psycho Bill. Every single one of them by far. But they're going to split the vote and put Cassidy in there. Don't Don't worry about that, folks. Cassidy going to be so low. You do not want Psycho Bill back in the United States Senate. I still don't see how he runs. That's just me. He's going to try to take that money and get his polling numbers up, but most of the money he's going to spend. Let him send Cassidy stuff out to Republican household. They'll throw that crap in the garbage can. I'm telling you what they do. Except for the fluty ones that they don't even want to understand us. They kind of never Trumpers like he is. Man couldn't even stand up for Trump. Nobody knows if Cassidy voted for Kamala Harris. Nobody knows that. Or some third party person that was on the ballot that he had no clue who it was. Nobody knows because Psycho does not come forward and tell us stuff like that. It's too late anyway. So we'll see what Psycho does. Remember, he's all over the place. You never know about Psycho. And that's when I saw that, I kind of just got a kick out of it. By the way, Facebook parent Meta plans $5 billion AI data center in Louisiana. Now, by the way, let me say it up front, boy, I hope that's true. And by the way, the reason why I say I hope it's true, I've seen stuff like this written over and over and again. It never happens. Facebook parent Meta is planning to build a multi-billion-dollar artificial intelligence data center in Louisiana near Monroe. Richland Parish Holly Ridge Public Service Commissioner Bananas Foster confirmed. Now, Bananas is confirming this. Now, how many of y'all trust Bananas? Kim said Meta's planning to invest $5 billion in the project. Now, this is in the middle of nowhere. I know there's a place. I know the Franklins. They don't want solar land to the state. And I'm pretty sure that's the area they're talking about. The thing is, they don't talk about how many jobs will come to the region. Louisiana Public Service Commission, which regulates utility monopolies, is being asked by Energy to approve the 3 natural gas power plants. There we go, the natural gas, baby. Get away from the Green New Deal. Surprised Foster Campbell's not upset about this. Why is Bananas not upset about this? And a large and economically transformative facility at Holly Ridge, about 30 miles east of Monroe. Campbell said 2 of the plants would be built near the data center, and a third north of Baton Rouge. It cost $3.2 billion. Now remember, planning to build and building is 2 different things. Quit giving people false hope. If this is going to happen, then let's make it happen. Governor Landry's spokesman told the USA Today, unfortunately, we can't comment right now. Let's see if there's anything else. No. And then news source says that Senator Cassidy's clout grows. Oh, my God. Anyway, this is, I just always caution people about plants and businesses, and they may come, and they probably come, and they could come. I don't see no dates on the plant. I don't see any number of people they're going to hire. I don't see any of that thing. I've been hearing, though, for a while that the AI data centers, if they can get those in Louisiana, that they were great paying jobs. It took a lot of energy, which is good. Talking about oil and gas, natural gas, whatever, that's really good because we got plenty of it. So one of the things they'll look at us is because we got enough natural gas to last the world over 10 times over. So I'm praying this comes because there's not an area in the state that needs it more. But I'm just cautioning people. I hear this stuff and people say it, and then it never shows up. So I just hope it's not false hope. False hope is a horrible thing, by the way. Hope, on the other hand. Ooh, look at Trump's win, how much hope people got now. Let's take a break, 844-766-6607. Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. Scott McKay will join us coming out of 10:30 break. You're listening to The Moon Griffon Show.
As Louisiana's only fiberglass manufacturer and fabricator, C-Safe Fiberglass Grading and Structural Systems has provided corrosion-resistant products to the Gulf Coast for over 45 years. Our fiberglass grading, cable trays, and structural shapes are ideal to replace corroded, rotting building products and can be custom fabricated by the best fiberglass craftsmen in the world, right here in Lafayette. Contact C-Safe or visit our website at csafe.com. That's SEA like the ocean, SAFE.com.
If you've got some projects to do around the house and you need the voice of experience, of local voice, somebody that can help you and knows Louisiana, you need to check out Stein Home & Yard. They're a Louisiana company, founded, established here. They've been based here. Their story dates back all the way to 1946. Stein Home & Yard has all the things you need to make your house ready for fall. Great deals on fall plants like mums, as well as all sorts of handy items you need for your house. Need to upgrade your power tool game? They've got great deals on DeWalt power tools. They also have great deals on grills for your next tailgate for the big game this weekend. Traeger pellet grills, Weber grills, Charbroil, so many great brands, and it's all right there at your fingertips. Just pull them up, steinhome.com. Steinhome.com is where you need to go to find the greatest deals on your home improvement needs. Steinhome.com, a great Louisiana company.
This is Moon Griffon. The biggest complaint about solar power is the battery storage. Well, no more. Now, Solar Louisiana offers giant battery storage solutions from the top names like Panasonic, LG, and more. Solar Louisiana will install residential home solar systems with enough battery storage to get you through any outages. And say goodbye to your electric bill, as Solar Louisiana will custom fit a system to your electrical needs. Online at solarlouisiana.net. Your energy independence company, Solar Louisiana. Taxes. If you're Atlas Foundation Repair, 800-256-1010. Louisiana-owned Atlas Foundation Repair, 800-256-1010. Call Tony Arpino. I have known him for years. Hi, hello, welcome back. It is the Moon Griffon Show, most nonpartisan, non-political show on the air today by far. Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. You can always email me, moon@moongriffon.com. Cane Rubicon giveaway. I think we're supposed to do something with our friends at Raging Cajun Seasoning as well, so may do something with them getting into the after Thanksgiving. All right, a couple other things. Somebody made a good point. Said Moon asked Shreveport about Elio Motors and planning the bill. Yep, that's what I meant. I remember when Kathleen Blanco announced that there was a plant coming, a car manufacturing plant coming to Monroe, that a GM plant. And Greg Hilburn, who never gets it right, Greg Hilburn wrote a story. After Blanco left, we put pressure on him to ask him when the plant was coming. Guess what he did? He had to write a story saying the plant wasn't coming. I don't know if it was Hilburn or not, ran a story in Lake Providence, and his plant was coming. And they were billing this and billing that, promised these people and jobs and all this stuff. Nothing came. I remember in Rayville, the chicken plucking plant. We had a chicken plucking plant coming. Walker was a chicken plucking plant that was definitely coming to Rayville. I don't know if it wasn't two chicken plucking plants, but there was some chicken plucking plants coming. You realize the chicken plucking plants never came? I'm not lying to you. The chicken plucking plants never came. I don't know why they brought up the chicken plucking plant, but the chicken plucking plant never came. Don't say that fast, folks. Too fast. Then I remember Bobby Jindal. Forget the name of the car company. Somebody in Monroe, you can email me real quick. I forget. They changed it up twice. It's a prototype car that was going to sell for $13,000. And I told you all about that yesterday. It never came. They even passed a local tax. The state government's throwing in $135 million of incentives. Never came. I go on and on with this. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but I hope, when I see somebody like Bananas Foster's making an announcement like that, it makes me a little nervous. Bananas is the one that claimed in a poll he was beating John Kennedy at the end, and he was going to pull it out. He got beat, 62-38? That's the same poll he said that nobody knew who I was. The same poll that said he was going to the Senate race. Bananas Foster, I'm not making it up. I'm a little leery of those things. So I tell people all the time, you ought to not be able to announce a plan or something's coming until they start building it. Okay? Everybody, you realize that manufacturing plant that was coming under General, they cut ribbons. Man, Francis Defeat Thompson and all of them at the front smiling and cutting the ribbon on the car manufacturing plant coming. You know what else they ought to do when they don't come? They ought to have to go back on site, get new pictures and video of them tying the ribbons back on because they didn't come. And somebody made a good point, all the people supporting Cassidy. This is true. And I could read the names and there'd be a bunch more. Most of them rely on the government to make their money. And also remember, Boise Bollinger supported Mary Landrieu. I'm just saying, Cassidy beat Landrieu because of Obama. And Cassidy sometimes acts just like Mary Landrieu. Somebody's also warned him, and I need to slow down on the chicken plucking plant, then I'm going to mess up one day. Look, and the guy that sent this to me knows me very well. I can mess up real easy. Well, it was a chicken plucking plant. I'm not making that up. But all these people supporting Cassidy, a lot of them, if you dive deep into these Republicans, there was V Vehicle. Thank you, Andy. Oh, V Vehicle. V Vehicle was coming and creating 1,500 new jobs and never showed up. You know what it is right now? You know where they want to put the V Vehicle at, what it is, what's on it right now? A gas station. That was the one Blanco had coming to. God bless her. I know she's not with us. But Governor Blanco just announced it. She never took the pictures. I'll give her credit for that. But General and them, man, they took pictures and had ribbon cutting and all the reps and senators up there. I wonder if Bananas Foster and them are going to cut ribbons over there in Richland Parish. By the way, nobody needs it more than Richland Parish. Nobody. Man, I pray that comes. I hope they're so right on it. Because I heard AI, these data centers, got to have energy. It's going to take so much energy to run them, and natural gas is the way they can go. Louisiana is going to be a top spot for these places. Okay? Wouldn't it be nice if our kids went to work there instead of leaving the state? I heard too that the average job there is about $110,000 a year. I don't see any of that in the news article. And by the way, Greg Hillman released it. It could be 100% wrong. You got Greg Hillman releasing a story that Bananas Foster's commenting on. I mean, that's kind of scary to me. You got Greg Hillman of the Gannett newspaper and Bananas Foster announcing something. The same guy that took a shotgun and shot it and looked like Michael Dukakis. I believe in, I like to hunt. Second Amendment ain't got nothing to do with hunting bananas, but hey, what the hell. We'll be right back. Scott McKay. I've been bragging about Dino Hardwoods for a long time. A good friend, Charles Altman. They do an excellent job. And if you're looking for unique or hard-to-find hardwood lumber, plywood, and molding, it's Dino Hardwoods. That's where you need to go. DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com. Trust Dino Hardwoods for all your hardwood lumber and cypress needs. With the holiday season fast approaching, as you know, a timeless handmade gift using quality lumber by Dino just means more. With 3 great locations to serve you now, Broussard, Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, and now he's expanded in Tyler, Texas. Folks, there's something for every discerning woodworker at Dino. Go to DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com, and check out the unique and hard-to-find hardwood, lumber, plywood, and molding that you can't just find anywhere. Charles Altman, trust me, is not a better man in the business. He knows what he's doing, and he wants to service you. DinoHardwoods.com, DinoHardwoods.com.
If you are a loved one or suffering from addiction, listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder, Paula Norris Metayer.
We help people through their detox with minimal withdrawal symptoms. Even though it's a 10-day treatment, I look at the first 4 or 5 days as the brain restoration piece. And when the brain restoration piece turns on, that's when we have patients go, wow, a light bulb turned on or a switch was turned on. All of a sudden, their prefrontal cortex is working. And their midbrain is also working. They're not craving. They're thinking clearly. They see things clearly. And they have more confidence.
Put your addiction behind you. Call Springfield Wellness Center, 225-755-9566.
Just call us. That's all. And we'll be waiting for you.
225-755-9566. 755-9566. Springfield Wellness Center. SpringfieldWellnessCenter.com.
Prescription products require apply.
This hour brought to you by the Matthew James Tax Pros. Find them online at MatthewJamesTaxPros.com.
Hi, hello, welcome back. It is the Moon Griffon Show. Always a pleasure to be with you. Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program. All righty. Scott McKay joins us from the Hayride. He's an author, does a podcast, does a author of many, many books. And Scott, first of all, good morning.
Hey, how are you?
I'm hanging in there, man. Just kind of roughing it out for the session. I think at the end of the day, we're going to hear it was a step in the right direction, which, by the way, at this point, I would take that. At this point, I would take it at what I'm watching. Just your thoughts and hopes and dreams. And you had an article, it's a rocky road, this tax session is on, and you make a lot of good points in there. Well, you quoted me, so that was a good point.
Yeah, well, I figured that would make you like it.
No, seriously, you're watching it from a distance. You're probably talking to people just like I am. And that's why I said I hate the words a step in the right direction. I might not hate it this time. It may be the best we got, but you got a session coming up, a tax session where you can deal with a lot of stuff. So just your thoughts.
Well, my goal for the legislature this session is to come out of it with as large a budget deficit as possible. That's what I want, because a budget deficit in a situation where you have a legislature that at least nominally is not, happy about the idea of raising taxes means that you have to cut the budget. And I think that it's strange that we're not in a massive budget cutting mood right now as a state. Although, I don't know if you saw this, the governor sent Philip DeVilliers and Cameron Henry a letter yesterday asking them to participate in I think it's like a fiscal accountability board or something like that that he wanted to put together.
Yeah, it is.
That sounds like, okay, I don't want to be the only guy involved in slashing the budget. You guys are going to have to participate as well. I like that on a bunch of levels, right? I mean, it sounds kind of like they're starting to realize that the pay-for situation that they want to do is too heavy a lift to be able to do it. So, maybe I'm wish casting here, but I all along have said, well, ultimately, you're going to get to the point where you realize that there's plenty of votes for cutting taxes and not that many votes for raising them somewhere else. And so if you want to have an impact on this, you're going to have to shrink the budget. Mm-hmm. Which is kind of the easy thing everybody would say, well, yeah, that's what you're a $50 billion budget for a state of 4.5 million people, and you should cut it. So ultimately, I think maybe we get there. And if we do, then we will have stumbled into good policy and done very well for ourselves.
Yeah, the one thing that I want to tell people, it was like a three-pronged process anyway. You got this one, then you got a constitutional amendment if they get that done and put on the ballot. So that'll be a big fight. Right. And then you're going to have the session, which is a tax session. And we ain't going to talk about insurance right now. I know it's important, but we're not. So really, there's several ways to get this done, but they're going to have to move on each one of them. They're going to have to do something good each time.
Well, look, a successful tax reform that brings business into the state and boosts the state's economy will have maybe not a massive effect on insurance rates, but it will have some effect because the bigger your economy and the more people you have coming in, the more lucrative your insurance market will be, and the more insurers will want to come write policies here. So there is that, right? And presumably a growing economy that brings business in brings the kind of people who don't get in car wrecks and sue all the time, right? So that part, I think, needs to be held up as, this is going to have a positive effect on insurance if we do it right. Obviously, they need to do a massive reform to insurance in the state, and I don't think we have a consensus on that yet. And I don't know how on board all the players are. That's a very diplomatic way of saying what I'm saying, Moon.
Yep.
But we'll see how that goes, because you can't just leave that. You have to address it. Those rates have got to come down. That's the kind of thing that can get people voted out of office in 2027 if nothing is done and the rates stay where they are. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's been a tough session. It's been a tough situation. I talked to a lot of people, and a lot of them don't know where it's going yet. That's why I mentioned when you came on, a step in the right direction, which I hate those words, might be something I'm gonna have to hug, because I think you got to get there to get the next couple of 3 steps that we need. I think you agree with me. You got to have.
No, that's exactly right.
But here's the problem, Scott. You can't step in the right direction. That's fine. Okay. You better have step 2, step 3, step 4, you better have some other stuff lined up to make sure this thing stays on track.
Well, that's why I like a budget deficit.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the step in the right direction is to create a giant budget deficit that you then have to resolve by cutting spending, which is another, massive step that needs to be done. Because if you can't pass the pay-fors in this session, you're not going to pass them next spring in the regular, fiscal session that they're going to have. You got to have 2/3 vote. And if you can't get the 2/3, well, then you have to cut the budget.
Yeah.
And we need smaller government in Louisiana. State government does more harm than good at the level that it spends money right now. And, the bureaucrats may not like it. The Baton Rouge Advocate may not like it. The Democrats in the legislature may not like it. Cleo Fields may not like it. I don't care what they think. Okay. This is obviously, clearly what needs to happen, and it needs to be done. And, hopefully everybody comes around to that realization sooner rather than later. But it doesn't matter, because by next June, that budget is going to have to be smaller than it is now.
Yeah, you got President Trump is going in, Musk and Ramaswamy, if they coming in from the outside, start looking at the silly things we spending money on, and they start exposing that, it's $2 or $3 trillion that they can wipe out. I believe we spend silly money on silly stuff in Baton Rouge, too. And that's why, to Jeff's credit, he's going to put together this group. I just wish they were all outside of state government. That's okay. I don't get to make that determination. But if they really start pulling stuff out that we're spending silly money on, I think it helps Jeff, too, to realize what we really have to do.
Well, and your first part and your second part are related, because DOGE, when it gets together and starts doing things, one of the things they're going to look at is the amount of money that the feds pass down to the states for all of these different policy initiatives that the feds want. And the problem with that is that Louisiana lives on all that swag that comes in from the feds. Like, that is what drives the state's budget.
Yeah.
So when Elon and Vivek and the rest of the crew go in there and say, okay, we're going to cut this way down the size because, we can't afford it and it doesn't actually drive positive results anyway. Mm-hmm. And your state is basically on welfare from the federal government, your budget's going to shrink like you wouldn't believe.
Scott,
unless you decide, well, we're going to do all this with state effort. Well, that's going to entail a lot more scrutiny than we give in this stuff now.
Yeah, one of the things that when you look at what the federal government can cut, one of them is state money. And I've heard this for a year now, that states are going to start getting cut. Well, if you look at our budget, we are so much dependent on federal government. They start cutting the federal government. We better be self-efficient. We better, because we're going to learn the hard way if we're not.
Well, and the mentality at that legislature is such that, and it has been, hopefully it's less so now with the new people that have gone in, but traditionally the mentality is that if the feds start subsidizing human sacrifice with matching funds, that they're going to find a way to spend some state dollars on that to draw down that federal money. I mean, very little scrutiny is applied at the legislature toward the idea of, hey, is this a proper function of government? And is this going to actually drive good results for us? It's no, the federal money is there for us to do this. So let's go match it and let's pull this down, which is sort of a communistic type mindset, right? Like, just because the feds are offering money for something doesn't mean that it's a good thing.
No.
And we're going to have to start applying that analysis because there's going to be less federal money involved in this stuff. And so you're going to have to think about, all right, we now have a much more limited supply of dollars to spend on government, and where should it be spent? And some of these wasteful federal programs that are no longer going to be there, that's an opportunity to save state effort. But you have to have the right mentality to do that.
Yeah, let me take a break. Scott McKay, my special guest, talking about the session. We got other things as well. 844-766-6607. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. It's the Matthew James Business Tax Reduction Hotline. We'll take a break. Be right back.
I got something I want to say.
It started with direct messages. That's how they got to my son. Gavin was just 17 and looking forward to college. He was contacted by online predators pretending to be a teenage girl. He was the victim of sexual extortion. In less than 2 hours after that first message, Gavin died by suicide. It's a pain I don't want any other parent to feel. Social media is causing an epidemic of bullying, anxiety, and depression, and it's leaving kids vulnerable to the kind of predators that targeted my son. We have to hold big tech accountable and pass the Kids Online Safety Act. I couldn't protect my son, but now it's my mission to make sure all kids are protected. I'm a father and a proud conservative, and I'm here to tell Speaker Johnson, pass the Kids Online Safety Act, because nothing is more important than protecting our kids.
Paid for by Issue One Action, which is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. IssueOneAction.org.
Nestled in gently rolling hills in North Louisiana is a place that produces the finest Louisiana wines around. Landry Vineyards. This place is phenomenal. Not only are they passionate about growing wine grapes and making Landry Vineyards wine, they also have cottages and RV sites you can rent, tours, and live music on Saturdays and tastings Monday through Saturday. Available in over 650 stores throughout Louisiana, I encourage you to visit and try Landry wine direct from Landry Vineyards. This is another great Louisiana company that has my full support, and they're Louisiana certified. A red blend they labeled Bayoutage, Blackberry Merlot, Cabs, Rosé, Petite Syrah, dry and sweet whites, and many, many other wines. Learn more about their wines and their vineyard online at LandryVineyards.com. This is Moon Griffon. My lovely bride and I love the wines from this great Louisiana company, Landry Vineyards, and so will you. Go visit their beautiful winery and find them in your local grocery store. If they don't have Landry Vineyards wine, ask and ask again. LandryVineyards.com. Woo, good wine right here.
Come in and try the good one.
Hi, y'all. Welcome back to the Griffon Show. Scott McKay, my special guest. He's on the most nonpartisan, non-political show on the air today. Did you know that, Scott?
Was that right?
I said, you're on the most nonpartisan, non-political show on the air. I said, did you know that?
I think I maybe had to do a double take.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I kind of shock you a little bit. By the way, everybody has an opinion on this program. You know, my motto, when I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. That's just always been my motto.
Yeah, there you go.
Scott,
that's right.
Any fears in this session for the Gov and the fact that, you know, some of these guys just are not going to play. He's got to worry about the Senate and what they're going to do because they've not actually been right there with him the whole time.
Well, at some point, I don't understand why Landry and Cameron Henry have not come to an arrangement of some kind where, look, Cameron, I need this stuff done. We're both Republicans. We both bill ourselves as conservatives. These things are generally conservative things that we want to do. What are your priorities that we can work together on, and what are mine, and let's get together. I mean, like, if Henry was a Democrat, then okay, fine. This is naturally going to be a tough thing that we can't get stuff through the Senate. But they're both Republicans, and they both sort of message themselves in a similar way, which should mean that they're allies and they get things done together. And at least so far, that hasn't quite been the case. And, like this idea that the majority of the people in a state, and this is a dynamic that I think applies a little bit federally too, that, somebody goes and runs for the head job, whether it's president or governor, and they get the majority of the population, they win the popular vote, right? They get elected, most of the folks voted for them, and, you're in charge of the Senate, and you say, well, I'm going to temper this guy's program, right? I'm going to reel him in. It's like, no, that's not what the voters voted for.
Yeah.
They voted to put him in charge, and that means they voted for his agenda. Now it's a little more demonstrative in Trump's case than it is in Landry's.
Yep. But
even still, you'd think there would be some deference, or if not that, then at least, hey, let me get in the room while you're putting this together because I can tell you what'll pass my house.
Yeah.
And so when you get in front of the public with a session, it goes pretty smoothly. And I've seen no evidence that Henry's willing to do that at all.
Well, what's amazing me about Cameron is that he was always considered one of the most conservative guys when he was in the House.
He was.
And he's the guy. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Jeff gets in, and I don't know if Cameron has read the headlines, how he can be the guy to stop Jeff. The people tied to state government, and all these people have gotten to Cameron to say, hey, you got to be separate. And he bought into it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what it looks like from the outside looking in.
No, I agree. I agree. And it doesn't make an enormous amount of sense to me because if this guy doesn't get substantial parts of his agenda that the people of Louisiana voted for, and I'm not saying, the pay-fors on the tax plan, or whatever. People wanted tax reform in Louisiana, okay? They want to get rid of the state income tax, whether Landry's plan to do it is the best way to go or whatever. People actually did vote for getting rid of the state income tax, okay, and making this place a lot more economically competitive. So if you're the guy that bottles up his plan and you don't have your own plan, then why shouldn't we perceive you as the guy who stopped the people of Louisiana getting a better tax code? Like, why aren't you the villain? And I don't know that he's made that analysis in his own head or what, but I mean, that's the danger for Cameron Henry is that people go, well, this guy is the problem and not, Philip deVilliers, the Speaker of the House, or Jeff Landry, the governor. It's we have this bad guy in the Senate. And I don't know if he's recognized the danger of being the entire state's black sheep at the moment.
Well, I think he is the black sheep at this point, and I think that everybody's worried about. I was told today by. I'm going to tell you who I'll talk to. If I did, you'd go, okay. And they said that Henry could become the problem again. He's just a problem. And so a guy that used to be conservative got the Senate presidency, and he acts like he's got John Alario and Blank Page Cortez on speed dial. I'm sorry. That's what it looks like to me.
Well, and I don't know that he doesn't, because this is the kind of thing that you would get from those guys, just absolutely defend the status quo at all costs.
That's what I meant.
Nobody likes the status quo. I don't know, like, why would you want to defend something that nobody likes? That makes you the bad guy.
Something else you and me talked about, I said on air, and you had in the article, was why is the media talking about what Jeff Landry inherited from Bell Edwards and the deficits and the problems and the business climate and the tax? I mean, go on and on. That he inherited everything bad dependent on the federal government. Not one article on what Landry inherited. And by the way, Edwards never inherited any of that. He voted for all that stuff. Just kind of curious your comments.
Well, he absolutely did. I mean, look, when and I'm not going to go shill for Bobby Jindal here, but when John Bell Edwards took office, okay, the state had a quote-unquote fiscal cliff. You and I both know it didn't actually have a fiscal cliff. But the economy in Louisiana was more or less in the tank. And the reason was that we had a big drop in oil prices. Mm-hmm. And that really hurt the oil industry in Louisiana. And by extension, the state's economy took a tumble. But in the 8 years previous to that, we had actually added population. We had this massive industrial construction boom.
That's true.
I mean, I'm not saying Louisiana was getting rich, but at least, we had a fundamentally halfway sound economy that was in the middle of a dip. And this guy destroyed that economy and built up government as though we were Venezuela over 8 years.
By the way, because I got
out of that,
I got to go to make you feel better.
Yeah, go ahead.
I said Bobby Jindal compared to Bell Edwards was a really good governor. This guy is the worst we've ever had. And by the way, I mean that sincerely. Horrible. Anyway, look.
Absolutely. And yeah.
I got to go, brother. Always a pleasure. By the way, Michael Moses.
Yeah, Moon. Take care, man.
Michael Moses of Frierson, Louisiana, is the winner today of the Cane Ripper concert. Michael Moses, not Moses Malone and not Moses. Michael Moses. Congratulations. We got to take a break and another hour to go.
Our state is facing a budget shortfall, left over by the last governor. Jeff Landry and the legislature already cut $2 billion for spending we don't need. Now they have to deal with this shortfall, but they've got a plan to deal with that and move Louisiana forward. This is what Governor Landry said.
This Louisiana Forward Plan, when fully implemented by the legislature and ratified by the people of this state, will produce more jobs, a greater prosperity, lower our taxes, and bring us a sustainable budget.
This plan cuts taxes for the middle class and all taxpayers, with the income tax rate dropped to just 3%. Job creators can grow the economy with lower taxes. Families and senior citizens, no more prescription drug sales tax. A different tax system which focuses on choices, not labor. And the Louisiana voters, we get the final say. Fixing the shortfall, cutting taxes, growing our economy, now that's moving Louisiana forward. Paid for by Protect Louisiana Values.
For the absolute best in local Cajun food, check out Prejean's in their 2 locations in Carencro and Broussard today.
News Talk 96.5 KPEL, Brobridge, Lafayette, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the Matthew James Tax Pro Studio.
This is a Fox News alert. A guilty verdict in Georgia on Lisa Brady. A judge just convicting Venezuelan national Jose Ibarra of killing Georgia nursing student Laken Riley.
Count 1, malice murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 2, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 3, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty.
Guilty on all 10 counts as Riley's family and roommates cried not long after closing arguments wrapped up. No visible reaction from Ibarra, who's in the U.S. illegally, recently waived his right to a jury trial, putting his fate in the hands of Superior Court Judge H. Patrick Haggard in Athens, Georgia. Prosecutors say Ibarra killed Riley during a struggle while she was out running in February, calling the evidence against him overwhelming, including DNA under Riley's fingernails. The defense call the evidence circumstantial. Ibarra faces a sentencing hearing this afternoon. Lawyers for President-elect Donald Trump are formally asking a New York judge to dismiss his convictions for falsifying business records in a hush money case. The Manhattan DA has said he'll oppose dismissal, but that the judge should consider postponing sentencing until after the second Trump presidency ends. A new nominee for the president-elect picking former acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker to be NATO ambassador, the top U.S. diplomat for the alliance.
In a statement, the president-elect says Whitaker is a strong warrior and loyal patriot who will strengthen relationships with NATO allies and put America first. President-elect Trump has criticized NATO members for failing to spend at least 2% of GDP on defense as required by the alliance. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, both Finland and Sweden have joined NATO.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. The U.S. Embassy and some others in Ukraine's capital are closed today after the threat of a major Russian aerial attack. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here with urgent news. The world's central banks are making unprecedented moves, and it's time to pay attention. In 2022 and 2023, they bought more gold than ever before. And now in 2024, the trend is accelerating. Why? Because central banks have lost faith in the dollar. And in these uncertain times, gold is the ultimate safe haven. If you too are worried about the dollar, I urge you to take similar action by diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold with my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
While some Democratic governors and mayors are vowing to resist mass deportation efforts, Texas is offering the incoming Trump administration a large piece of land for staging an operation.
Texas Land Commissioner Dawn Buckingham, in a letter to President-elect Donald Trump, saying the state is fully prepared to enter into an agreement with the incoming administration, DHS, and Border Patrol, offering more than 1,400 acres in Starr County to allow a facility to be built for the processing, detention, and largest deportation in the nation's history.
We are more than happy to offer our resources to facilitate those deportations of these violent criminals.
Texas offering the incoming administration land that was previously purchased for a border wall, a project that the Biden administration stopped.
Fox's Jeff Manasso, an apologetic co-founder of one-time cryptocurrency giant FTX, avoids prison time. A judge praising Gary Wang's cooperation, testifying against co-founder Sam Bankman-Fried and Wang's efforts to help recover money for victims of fraud. Wang was the first person to cooperate. Prosecutors say it went beyond the FTX case, helping them to find other financial frauds. New holiday traditions may be on the menu this year.
Be kind to your holiday hosts. Survey says 1 in 5 Americans plan to host friends and family for the first time ever this holiday season. 42% of adults in all plan to host, and 41% say they prefer creating new holiday traditions. Have to say food plays a big role in that. Good for the Honey Baked Ham Company, which commissioned the survey. While 92% see turkey as the most traditional holiday meal, nearly half say they prefer to serve ham as an alternate. What's it take to be a good host? 7 in 10 say it's about keeping things informal, but have the perfect menu. 1 in 5 say they've mastered the art, and when things go wrong, roll with it. A third say their new traditions tend to develop by accident or coincidence.
Fox's Therese Crowley. The Dow's down 44. And Lisa Brady, Fox News.